Hello everyone, welcome to a new video today. We are doing something non-sewing related but still on topic. Today we are going to be talking about costuming with ADD. I do feel the need to put out a disclaimer that I do not have an official ADD diagnosis. I have other health problems that I am more concerned with getting an official diagnosis on, and I didn't know that this was a thing for me until recently after I got my anxiety under control. So in this video, I will be talking about ADD, I will be talking about anxiety, and I will be talking about how to deal with different energy levels because that's everything that affects me. If for some reason any of this offends you, I'll see you next week. The first thing that you need to understand is your personal limits. All of us have different levels at which we can function, and all of us have different energy levels as well. So all of that plays a factor in how you work and when you work and everything. It affects your life so much. I don't know what I'm saying. I should have written out a better outline. This video is going to be a mess. Things that help me personally is, number one, to do batch work. I have noticed that when I'm hyper-focused, the first thing that I can do to help me calm down and start thinking clearly and not with the hyper-focus fog is to force myself to do things in batches. And what that means is you will pin everything, and then you will sew everything, and then you will iron everything that you can possibly do in one step and then move on. This also helps with limited energy. When I have low energy days and I don't want to work, being able to sit down at my work table and pin everything and then move over to my machine and do all of that sewing and then move back to my work table where I can iron and then pin again saves a lot of energy and tends to help me move through things faster, especially when I am making multiple projects that are similar construction. I also batch edit all of my YouTube videos and pretty much all content that I put up on the internet. The second big thing is to know your limits. Personally, I can only actively work for 3 to 4 hours at a time. If I try to do more than that, I will wear myself out. If I do less than that, I don't feel productive. All of us have a different time that we work productively. When I was working in the tailor shop, I would wake up early because I focus better in the mornings, and I would get my personal sewing done, and then I would go to work, use all of my energy because social anxiety is brewed, and then I would come home and do nothing but sleep. Like, if I did not meal prep when I was working at the tailor shop, I didn't eat. Did not take care of myself. Do not recommend. The third thing for me as far as workflow is to acknowledge the fact that personally, I am very goal organized. Heavens. Personally, I am very goal oriented, and this kind of helps with my anxiety too. So I have a giant whiteboard that I write down my current projects on the top, and on the bottom I have my content calendar for all of my YouTube videos and upcoming projects. It's also where I list out upcoming projects that I plan on. I also have a planner that I do pretty much the same thing in. So having those two places where I can check and balance what I am planning and what I want to do helps when I get really anxious about all the work I have in front of me. I can plan it out and I know what I'm doing when, and it helps. And don't be afraid to change up your plans and goals. This is why I have a whiteboard. Things change all the time. Also, knowing what I am doing in any given week helps me focus. Knowing, hey, all I have to do this week is finish these sleeves and put this bodice together. That way, on good focus and energy days, I can just breeze through the sleeves, and then I can take my time with the bodice for the rest of the week. Setting reasonable goals has helped me be able to focus and get things done in a timely manner better than anything else I have ever tried. Imagine that. Along the same lines as how I set my goals is to plan things out. I honestly think that this is the most important thing when you are trying to get a project done. So like I had previously said, knowing what you want to do in a week really helps you be able to not only make the time to be able to sit down and focus on these things, Okay, full honest acknowledgement moment here, guys. I recognize that this takes a lot of self-discipline and also knowing how you work and function. If you are not at this point where you can plan things out or don't think you will ever be here, this is just how I work. It's not for everyone. But it also helps you to get excited about it. And if you're not excited about that step, move on to a different one. I personally have multiple projects going on at a time, so that way if today I'm not feeling the sleeves, then I'll sew the bodice that I want to sew. Planning things out also works really well for my YouTube channel. So when I originally started thinking about starting a YouTube channel and making a regular schedule, I thought that posting every other week would be very doable for me. And I was fully prepared in January to post every other week. And then I realized that I had 8 videos in my backlog that I had already finished editing, and got this crazy idea that posting weekly might actually be doable for me. It's not going to be that way for everyone. Personally, I don't work a full-time job, so I don't have that to compete with. I don't have children to compete with. I don't have a lot of the external things that other people do. Oh, I really hope this video goes together well. So back on the topic. Planning in advance. I like to have 2 to 3 videos in my backlog at minimum. I feel more comfortable at the 7 to 8 range, which is why when you hear me talk on my live streams about, hey, I'm totally willing to have video ideas, but you might not see them for another month, that's why. I already have backlog. It's there. But this also means that if I have a week where I literally cannot focus for the life of me, or a week where I get so hyper-focused that I literally cannot do anything else, or even a week where I have 0 energy and have to put myself on self-imposed bed rest, I have a video that can go out, which is honestly the best thing for my anxiety. It's like, real moment here, guys. Everyone who was last minute editing for COVID, you gave me secondhand anxiety because I don't know how you did it. I don't know how you uploaded the video on the day that it was scheduled to go. Kudos to you. Glad that works for you. It would stress me out. Another part of planning ahead is I have realized the importance of fluff videos. Not saying that they are any less important, but saying that they are easier videos to make. So when I build a Renaissance dress, it takes 4 to 6 months for me to build one. Honestly, if that was the only content that I was able to put out, bi-weekly posting schedule sounds really doable at that point. But because I also have different projects to focus on, I can film things and get other smaller projects up in that same time period. Which, you know, fills in those gaps, pads out my weekly schedule. Again, if this is not something that sounds reasonable to you, Morgan Donner got to 100,000 subscribers by posting once a month. Do what you need to do, guys. It'll work out. What I think is the most important thing for this hobby, especially when you have issues with staying focused or hyper-focused or anything, is to really find the joy and to find what makes you happy. So if building a fancy Renaissance dress does not make you happy, then don't do it. If you love history bounding and that's your jam, go do it. If you can only work on small projects at a time and you hand sew them on your commute because that's what brings you joy, do it. If you want to hand sew lace, do it. Man, I don't understand you people who hand sew lace, but do it. It's beautiful. On the other hand, if you want to use your 10 needle embroidery machine to create the most gorgeous garments in the world, do it. There is a place for everyone in this community, and there is a place for everyone. Honestly, life is not pie. If you're competing with other people, stop. That's rude. Along the lines of finding joy in what you do, find the machines, the techniques, the tools that make you happy. Personally, I really miss the big gravity feed irons in the tailor shop, and getting one of those, I might actually start pressing things because they are so fun to work with. You beat things into submission. The other thing is I have a pretty decent collection of antique machines. Working with my older machines brings me so much joy. And when I have a project where I'm just like, oh, I'm not really feeling it, I will open up one of those babies and it will be so fun to work with, especially the treadle. I don't know why I have so much fun working with my treadle. On the back end, like housekeeping YouTube things. Find an editing software that you have fun with. I mean, honestly, you need to find joy in what you do. Personally, for me, the most exciting thing, the thing that just gets me going and excited is seeing my progress. Why, hello, airplane. Come on. You can go. Fly away. Come on. The birds, I don't mind. They're always there. I don't know where I was. The most exciting part for me is seeing my improvement. Did I get there before? I hope so. I'll figure it out when I edit. Another really big thing for me is to create a functional workspace. So I personally did this by making a flexible workspace. I knew that there would be times when I needed all of the room in the world to spread out in my little tiny studio space. And I knew that there would be times when I needed a big table to lay things out so I could alter and cut them and have it be at a functional height. Organize everything you can. Even if it is just a pile on the floor, make sure that pile has a purpose. Right now, I have a pile for my fancy woven sleeves, and I have a pile for the day dresses I'm slowly working on, and I have a pile for my knitting projects. This is why I never really show you the floor of my studio. Even in my lives, I push it aside. So I look semi-clean. Presentation is everything. You can fool the internet with a good camera angle. I keep looking down because my notes are in my lap, so sorry. It's what we got. Understand object permanence. I know a lot of people with ADD really struggle with object permanence. For those unfamiliar with this term, object permanence is the literal definition of out of sight, out of mind, meaning that if it is not in my line of sight or if I cannot directly see it, I will forget about it until I see it again. I have found a way to use it to my advantage. So, personally with hyperfocus, if I am focused so much on something that it is dysfunctional, meaning it gets in the way of personal care, such as hygiene, food, water, bathroom needs, it goes in the closet. It's actually a really interesting concept that I've had to experiment with, but yeah. Object permanence also works in the other way, where I literally forget about projects in my closet until I see them, and also projects in my UFO box. So personally, I keep my UFO box right next to my computer, so that way I see it, and I remember that I have unfinished projects in that box. Might not remember what those projects are, but I remember I have the box. Also, I have started using my closet in my studio for more regular storage. As I work on things, I can put things away and pull things out. This makes me go into the closet more, which helps remind me of that dress I made 2 years ago and still haven't finished. But understanding how your brain works with the concept of object permanence, where it's out of sight, out of mind, and how to use that in your advantage has been a game changer for me and my sewing. Also, understand your workflow. Like I talked about earlier, batch sewing is fantastic for my workflow, especially on low energy days. My flexible workspace is also fantastic for my workflow. It triggers my brain in a way where I know that if the table is folded up against the wall, I either have room to play dress up or edit, or to work on small projects. But once I pull my table out, you better bet that means serious, let's get down to business, working on a project. This is the same concept that they tell you when you start working from home to still get up and do your morning routine and get dressed for the day. I just do it with my workspace because it is more of a mental shift for me than dress and clothes. So being able to manage my workflow and my mental expectations of my space by manipulating my space is really important to help me be able to focus better. Make sure everything has a home. It can be all the fabric that I am using for upcoming projects can live on the shelves of my cutting table. It can be all of my yarn go in this certain box that I store underneath my desk. It can be my half-broken dress form lives right next to my whiteboard in shame. It can even be a temporary pile on your floor. For the love of all that is holy, I'm just going to stress a temporary pile. Don't let it build up. It'll lead to more stress. Just make sure things have a home so that way you know where things are. Prime example, I always store my scissors on the bottom shelf of my cutting table, so that way I always know where they are. Granted, this doesn't always work because right now none of the 3 pairs of scissors I have are on the bottom of my cutting table, but one is by my machines and I think the other 2 are on top of my table. So, can't win them all. Keeping your space clean is probably the most important thing. I have personally linked the state of my space to my mental health. When I'm low on energy and I just don't want to do anything, the clutter kind of gathers, which only leads to more anxiety and half focusing on how messy my room is and not focusing on my project. And it's a spiral. So telling yourself on Fridays I cannot sew until I pick up my room to the functional state. There is a level where it's functional and then there's a level where it's clean, and I always strive to keep it at the functional level. Once a month I'll get it clean, but for the most part I just try to keep it functional. That way it's not taking up space in my brain and I don't have to walk into my studio in the morning and suddenly go, oh. Either that or I don't get halfway through a project and stress clean and accidentally throw out pieces to my project and have to go dumpster diving as the garbage truck is coming down the street. Ask me how I know. I think that as the CostTube community grows, there's an increased pressure to put everything on social media, either in the form of YouTube videos or on Instagram, or to just share in general. And this is great. You can like find great communities, which we'll talk about later, and be able to like learn and grow and like be able to have like a concise place where you can track your progress. All of these are great things, but something that I think needs to be said is you don't have to do it. You don't have to put yourself out there on every platform. You don't have to respond to every comment. You don't have to acknowledge the backhanded comments, the "oh, this is nice but" comments, the "oh, well, I watched this one YouTube video so I know what I'm talking about" comments, the unique insights comments. You don't have to. For me, social media is like screaming into a void because I get so excited about my projects and I get so excited about a step or the progress that I made. Sometimes that'll become what I hyper focus on and I can't function until I tell someone about it. And so social media and Instagram is so great for that because I can snap a picture, send it into the void. Sometimes the void responds, sometimes it doesn't. That doesn't matter because I've sent it. My excitement dies down, I can move on. I started my YouTube channel with the intention of like just sharing and creating, and it's been fun to grow a community. Like this community is so worth it. Like viewers, hi, you're the community I'm talking about. You guys like make this worth it. I love the chatty lives. I love reading your comments. It's just, it makes me feel good to know that it is helpful or you found my videos entertaining, but that's not what I base my worth on, and it's not, honestly, I like making my YouTube videos like compete with each other and being like, oh, well, this hair video did better than this like bustle pad video, so obviously whatever I did in this hair video was done better than this bustle pad video. Anyway, I study a lot of my own analytics and things because I want to know how I can improve, because like I said, seeing that progress in myself and my work really helps me get excited about things and want to do more. And so that's what I do. Also, the world is not pie. You are allowed to take up space. I don't know how we got here, guys, but I'm going to continue with this tangent because it's important. The world is not pie. You are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to post. You are allowed to share. You are allowed to have a voice and to be a part of this. If anyone makes you feel like you do not have a voice, honestly, throw them out a window. The technical term for that is defenestrate. Just defenestrate them and let it be, because it reflects more on them than it does on you. And I feel like it would be a really miserable life to go around constantly thinking or feeling threatened by everyone around you. Like, that has to be so stressful. I can't even fathom. Oh, where were we? Back to socials. Oh, heavens, how much editing am I gonna really do on this video? It's a good question. The biggest thing for me, flat out, when I try to keep a regular posting schedule on socials is, I don't know where this left off. We'll talk about scheduling your posts, because I think that's where it left off. Personally, I schedule out all of my YouTube videos, and I also use a third-party scheduler on Instagram. I have also linked my Instagram to my Facebook page, so that way it will auto post over there. I really only have to schedule things out on 2 different platforms, and then it just takes care of itself. I schedule things out a month to maybe 2 months in advance, mostly because I don't want to be so focused on a project one week and just completely forget to post. And I don't want to have a low energy week make me forget that, oh heavens, I have a YouTube video going up. This isn't something I do all the time, but when I feel the need to be consistent with my social media, I will take a day, I will plan everything out, I will do all the things I need to do, so that way I can go and focus on other things throughout the rest of the month or the week or whatever. The last thing I want to say, which is the most important, is to find a support group. So the CostTube community has a fantastic support group. We have different forms of communication, we have different tools that everyone has access to, we have a special place where we can talk about our ADD, energy, anxiety problems, along with others. I don't deal with others, so I can't speak to them. But we have a place where we can talk about that. And we have a place where we can be like, hey, I'm really iffy about this video. Can I get your feedback on it? And this community is great, and I love the community that we have built, and I recognize that not every community has this. But building a support group, finding the 3 or 4 friends that are either actively a part of what you're doing and doing it as well, or outside of things and can give you honest, out third person perspective is so important. They will help encourage you. They will help remind you that, hey, you need to be drinking enough water. They will celebrate with you. Oh my gosh. The celebrations channel on our Discord server is just wonderful. I love watching it. I love cheering people on. And creating this atmosphere where we are complimenting and encouraging and really striving to make each other better is just healthier. It is so much healthier than just competing with each other because we feel threatened by each other. Life is not pie! 2 things I will say about building a community. If they don't chase away your trolls, they're not your people.
Okay, so 3 things. If they don't encourage you, they're also not your people.
And don't be afraid to ask them for help. If you have the right people around you and the right people supporting you, they will want nothing more than to help you. And in turn, don't be afraid to reach out to people to help them. I mean, don't do it in the backhanded, I saw your video and thought you could do this better way. But just reach out to them and be like, hey, I realized you were making your first corset. I've made a couple dozen. If you need help figuring out fit and stuff, let me know. You know, some people might still find that rude, but that's a personal thing, and you'll know who likes comments like that and not as you build your support group. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I've had to say on this topic. I have reached the end of my outline. I'm so glad I did that outline. If you found this helpful in any way, please let me know. It was kind of a thing that I felt like I needed to make, but it still makes me anxious to talk about all of my mental health things. Where was I going? I breathed and lost my train of thought. Does that happen to anyone else? So yeah, if you found any value from this, let me know down below. Anyway, see you next Monday for our new video, and I will catch you live on Thursday. Bye guys! Something that I feel the need to interject here is that you need to take care of yourself. And if you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to have any chance at being productive. Neither are you going to have any chance at like doing anything. Because when you run out of energy, you are out of energy. And when you run out of energy, you run out of focus, and it's a spiral. Take care of yourself. Take your pills, drink your water, go get a snack. Take care of yourself. I like that you're here, and I want you to stick around.